Welcome to the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast. I am your host, Ann Austin, and it is once again to be back here again to bring all these great programs to you. When I say great programs, I mean awesome programs. This year we have an abundance of information. We have well over 50, close to 60 people participating in the podcast this year, and I can definitely say for sure that all the information that you're going to find here on the podcast is definitely going to help you in some way. So with that, I want you to also like, share, and vote for your favorite podcast participant. We have 7 awards up for grabs this year, and we are hoping that you're going to help us make a decision on who has the best podcast or the best book or whatever in this podcast. So make sure that you are visiting all the pages and checking out all of the podcast recordings, and make sure you like, share, and vote. And just in case you didn't know what the purpose is, the BMWOC is unifying people from around the world, and I mean around the world, guys, to share their information about their business and career so that we can inspire you to make some changes and to learn what's going on in the industry. And anything in speaking, anything in publications, anything on this podcast that you are interested in, we have the answer for you. So make sure that you are checking them all out. And we definitely have a young lady on here that is making moves. She has facilitated in 1 or 2 of my little sessions going on, and she's going to be talking about business etiquette, which is really important. And so we're going to have her talk about that. But before we get into her interview, we need to take a moment to thank our corporate sponsors, who are My Financial Home, Evangelism Radio, J&F Enterprises, Sears Consulting, Autism Families Rock, Awakening to Love, Eli Natoli, Kimberly McLemore, True Synergy, and Platinum Financial Services, along with our other participants that's making this season a huge, huge success. So as I mentioned, we have another young lady here, Talisha Thomas, who is the owner of Building Business Etiquette. And what she does is that she conducts business as an etiquette and image consultant headquarters in Houston, Texas. She has plans to expand worldwide with the information that she is sharing, because her goal is to help teenagers, adults, business owners gain professional inner growth and gain job knowledge in the areas they wish to succeed. She has a degree study in IAP Career College in Business Etiquette. She also has an International Protocol and Image Etiquette certificate. And she also has a bachelor's degree in accounting on top of everything else in terms of what she has in terms of her degree and educational background. So as you guys are reading her bio, let's welcome Talisha Thomas to the podcast. Welcome.
Hi, Ann. Thanks for bringing me on. So happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you again. I don't think we can get enough of each other, because we are always like doing something for each other,
Yes.
That's a good thing, because that's what we love to do. So I'm going to give you the floor to introduce yourself and to tell people about, what did you do before you got into business etiquette? Like what was your interest when you were growing up?
Okay. Well, I wanted to start off by saying, guys, I was taken away from my mother at birth, Miss Ann, and I was adopted. I was dragged from house to house until the age of 5. And then I was adopted at the age of 6 in a home of 15 other misplaced children. And all wanted 2 things. I wanted to be loved, and I wanted certainty. So when I got into college, I decided, you know what? I don't like the way things are set up for teens. I don't like how we're just thrown into the world. It's okay, you're 18 now, it's time to go. You either go to college or you go to work. Life hits you. And so these kids, these teens, they start off basically playing the game life, not knowing if they're doing things right, not knowing if this will help them or not. It's just like a trial and error. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to help these kids instead of trial and error in life so they can get it right the first time, is to teach them etiquette skills, manners, teach them ways to be able to make it not only in their social life, but also in their professional life, so that if they have all the skills that they need combined, we wouldn't have the rate of employees firing people from left to right. We wouldn't have the companies losing money for hiring people that really don't want the job, or people who don't have respect for their customers. We wouldn't have this dating mishap that's going on. We wouldn't have this social barrier that's going on in colleges. So what I did was decided to create something that would help them for every part of their life. Now, before I was doing this, I was working for Kroger. I was a ASP, which was like a part of management team, and I did HR and stuff like that. And I realized, Tish, I don't want to do this all my life, you know. And so instead of me hopping straight on my dreams at the time, after you get out of college, you really don't know which way you're going to go. If you're not doing an internship, or if a company has not hired you right out of college, you really lost. Miss Ann, what was your experience when you first went to college? Do you remember?
I went to college. Yeah, I went to college. It was very later in life, though.
Mm-hmm.
My experience back then was not really about the etiquette piece, but it was more about the because I started off just going to the actual class, and I think everybody had like the same sort of mind frame in
Mm-hmm.
terms of education. And I thought, hey, let me just focus on my, what I need to do. But what got us though in the class was that they made us work in teams on every single project until the end of the class. And we had to work together to do a presentation. It was very difficult for a lot of people to do that because they weren't used to speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that going back to what you were saying when and first of all, I'm sorry that that happened to you when you were younger, and then early recognizing that, there needs to be some behavior changes. I think that you hit the nail on the head is that you learned very early in your life that business etiquette, being kind to one another, being able to use your personality, engage other people's behavior in order to effectively communicate. And I think that it is so important because a lot of us grow up not having that. And yes, it does funnel into like the workplace, where you go into the workplace and there's people with all different types of behaviors that don't know how to communicate. So when you started working, and developing the business etiquette skills, what was some of the ones that you particularly kind of like just was stuck with in the beginning before you kind of branched out to other areas?
I would have to say when it comes to interviewing resume, because everybody give you so many different rules, or oh, you can write a resume like this, or oh, make sure you do this. And then as years change, oh, you need to switch this. You don't make sure you put the most important. When I was growing up, it was make sure you put everything you have done in chronological order. Now it's, oh, when you put whatever you put down, whatever job you're applying for, that's what needs to be at the top. So it don't really matter if you did it in the correct year. So all these things can become confusing, and if you're constantly in the job market, you constantly have to keep this up and in mind. Oh, I got to change this. I got to do this, this, and this, and all the rules change. So that was a struggle for me. And then when it came to interviewing, getting nervous. And a lot of these kids, if they are not social, it's not that they're not socially capable, they just don't know how to properly speak to others. Or I had a teenage girl, I think she was like 13 at the time. She told me, she was like, sometimes I just freeze. I just freeze up when I see people, new people, or if I'm in a group. I can't talk, nothing comes out of my mouth. So that right there, I know how that feels, because when I was in college, they had us stand up and do group, what you call it, group presentations, or
Oh,
get up
yeah.
and do a 5-minute speech or something. And if you didn't do it, you basically got an F. So you either get over your fear like that, or you get out there and you do it. So if these kids are just using college just to make it, like they have Toastmasters, and I was involved in that for a moment, and I didn't do too well in that. I was like, I don't really care for standing up in front of people. And then I realized, Talisha, this is all helping you. It's helping develop your communication skills. It's helping you be able to stand up in front of people, to be comfortable. And guess what? Now I can do videos, videos from day to day, and I'm comfortable. I have become comfortable getting in front of camera. And I'd rather do camera than to write a book or to write a speech. I'd rather be in front of camera and just talk.
So when it came to me speaking in front of my colleagues or peers at school, it was a very hard struggle for me because I didn't know how to project myself. I didn't know um, if what I was saying was silly. We all care about appearance. We all care about what people are thinking about us when we're standing up, or they listen to what we're saying, or they're watching what we're wearing. And so that kind of made some self-doubt because I had very low self-esteem in my college years. It's not until I got to my late 20s when I released the low self-esteem. So all that played a factor into why etiquette became so important to me. And like I was saying, Miss Ann, now I can get in front of anyone and speak with no problem. I'm not afraid. I don't feel judged. I just be me. And I think if these kids realize that they'll feel much comfortable approaching other people, and how when they go to business meetings, such as say if they got a presentation to do, and the manager say, "Hey, I need you to do this presentation," then this where all this hard training and hard work and all these elements come together so that you can perform at so they can perform at their highest level when they do a business meeting. And guess what? When they make that business meeting, that brings money into the company.
Absolutely. See, when I went to University of Phoenix, they had us doing presentations, like I was saying earlier. They had us doing a presentation every 5 weeks because each class was like 5 weeks, maybe 10 weeks, depending on the subject. And at the end of the program, we had to do a presentation. Now, to kind of like piggyback on some of the stuff as far as behavior, we did have a couple of people who just did not want to do the work, but they was eager to stand up and do the presentation. Right. So that was very
Hmm.
difficult for some people to kind of deal with. And I do think that just standing up in a class, just being able to talk definitely prepared me for what I'm doing now because I was just like you. I was nervous. I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know how I was looking. I know I was saying a lot of ums and you knows, and it took a lot for me to kind of get out of my shell because I'm an introvert as well, and I had to practice, and I'm still practicing. It's like like a doctor who practiced medicine,
Right.
right? So I practice being an extrovert so that I can project how I want to project and things of that nature. But I'm still, kind of shy internally. But
Hmm.
I do think that if any student will get into like doing presentations, even if they just do it by themselves, just to get used to standing in front of people talking, it will definitely help them in the business situation, especially if they have to do sales or any kind of business presentation, or if they've been running their business, they definitely have to be able to speak in front of people if they ever want to, collaborate with other organizations that have more than one owner, for sure.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Ms. Ann, when you were talking about sales. A lot of these
Hmm.
kids, majority of the time, their first job is going to be sales, whether they work for Verizon or if they work for a TV station or whatever it may be, they're going to have to use sales. And I'll be real with you. I didn't think for a second I would have to do sales because I never liked the sales. It was like, oh no, I'm not fit to go do the door-to-door experience. No, that's not me. And then you realize, Talisha, there's so many other aspects uh, than doing door-to-door. You have to really convince people that your product is what they need. And
Hmm.
you got to show passion behind that. And so once I realized, oh, I can't get past sales either way it go. I have to do it. So then it becomes something you have to come and master. And remember how you mentioned how kids should practice in the mirror.
Right.
So that's where it started for me. Anything I do, I look in the mirror, and or I record to see how I sound, to see if I uh, making all the points that I want to make. If not, then it's okay. I can go back, record, stop, do it again, change up the wording, all of that. But you also got to make sure that it's authentic. You don't want to sound like you're scripted. You don't want to sound like a robot. You want to sound like yourself, or people can be like, oh, you're boring.
Yeah, that is so true also. So other areas of business etiquette that I think is very interesting is business to business etiquette. You know, not only having the personality to be able to communicate with people, but also knowing how to communicate with other business owners who have their own perception of what business etiquette is. I think that that is a really hot topic. Do you want
Hmm.
to share some thoughts around that?
Yes, I want to ask you, what is your perception on business to business etiquette?
So
Because,
my
go ahead.
Okay. No, go ahead. I want to hear your question.
Well, reason why I'm asking that is because if you're thinking something totally different than what I'm thinking, then who's doing it right? Who's doing it wrong?
I don't
Because
think people are doing it right or wrong. I do think
hmm
it's all tied to behavior again.
hmm
I do think my perception of business to business etiquette is one, being transparent in your intentions when you're working with another organization, making sure that you carefully understand and listen, when you're talking to them and seeing how you really align with the business and doing your research. There's just so many things that I can kind of think of, but you're the business expert, so I want to hear what your thoughts are around business to business etiquette.
yes. So with that, everything that you mentioned is totally true. And the biggest one out of all of them is being able to actively listen to what the other business owner is saying. Because if, like you said, if they are constantly trying to tell you something and you're like, oh yeah, we align when you really don't, then guess what? That business alignment is going to go down the trash. It's not going to last very long. And we're going to have some angry people at the end of the day. And
Hmm.
you're wasting money. And so another thing I wanted to mention when it comes to business etiquette is being diverse, being able to understand other people's background and culture. Because half the time when you're doing business to business, you're not just in the one area. You may be around the world. So that comes into travel etiquette. What are some skills that you need to learn when you're going to another country? That is not only how to have travel etiquette, but also how to communicate with those people. Say if you're in Japan, manners is expected in Japan.
Hmm.
Their culture is all about respect. So if you come over there and you're trying to do business with them, the only way you're gonna get business with them is if you come in there with respect. Whereas other countries, it may be more laid back. And also you got to think about dining. All about business to
Hmm.
business etiquette is also dining. The way you eat their food. And if you go to certain parts of the world, it's okay to burp. If you go in certain parts of the world, it's okay to flirt. And if you don't know that, like in America, it's not okay to flirt in America. And if you do that and you're in a business meeting, guess what? You have lost
You're
a
out.
$1 million deal.
That's right. You got to do your research.
Yes,
You got to do your research for the culture of that organization and especially that country that you're about to go into. That is a huge thing because if you do go into another country and you don't know their culture, you can actually insult them thinking that
yes,
you're trying to respect them, but you're actually making it worse. So you
most
definitely want
definitely.
to do your research prior to and ask the questions. Can you or are you allowed to do? There's To me, there's no stupid question. The only one that's a stupid question is one that's never asked, and
That
then
is
you go
so
over there and you
true.
assume, so you definitely got to do that. So
Yes.
outside of all of that you doing for the business etiquette, are you also doing other training courses? Are you doing any kind of events that people may be interested in to learn more about business etiquette?
Yes, I have several. Right now, I am creating a Good Friday Unity and Community Park Day. And in this event, we are raising money and getting sponsors, looking for sponsors to come out to donate money towards the etiquette boot camp for underprivileged students who can't afford to attend the boot camp. And also, we're giving scholarships to first time college students. So whatever amount that donors can give, they can attend. It's going to be in Missouri City. It's going to be at the Hunters Glen Park in Missouri City, and it's going to be from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this is where the parents are allowed to come and register their child for the summer boot camp. Sign them up. The summer boot camp will be from June 3rd all the way to the first week of August. And
Nice.
each week, the max is 50 students per week. So the parents is allowed to sign up their child for any week that they're available. And it's a whole week long. So it'll be from Monday to Thursday. And then Friday is the day where the parents get to have a lunch with their kids and also see what they have done for the entire week.
Wow,
So
nice.
yes, and that includes 4 shirts that the kids can wear throughout the week for the camp.
Okay, so we'll
Yes.
definitely have some of that information linked to that's on your website, correct?
Yes. Actually,
Okay.
they can go on Facebook. Go to Facebook
Hmm.
at Building Business Etiquette,
Hmm.
and that's Building Business Etiquette, or they can call me directly at 225-888-2799 to get that information. Right now, my website is under construction, so I'm not utilizing that right now. So everything that anybody needs information regarding this camp or regarding the fundraiser, they can go to my Facebook page, which is Building Business Etiquette.
Okay. And
Yes.
so, what do you have a lot of listeners who's listening to this thing about business etiquette, and you share some really good tips, but now I kind of want to focus on what you need. So, personally and professionally, what do you need to thrive and keep doing what you're doing?
The support, support from the community, support from the families, especially the parents. I can't do my job if the parents aren't willing to send their child to something educational. And basically, if we get all the parents to understand this is something valuable and something that the kids really need, their child will go far.
What do you need personally, though?
Me personally, outside of etiquette,
Yeah, you, the person.
me personally, that's a good question. I really don't really have anything that I really need right now. Just focusing on my business. Personally, I'm just, business is all I'm focused on right now.
Okay. Alrighty, so you heard it, guys. She is focused. She is laser focused on making sure that you guys understand business etiquette and everything that comes with it, whether it be your personal etiquette or your business etiquette or working business to business. She has a whole lot of stuff going on. She's encouraging your kids to come out and learn some of these business etiquette rules and practices because it's really important for their future. It's important before they go to college or even if they're, middle school and they're ready to go to high school, where we know that high school is the last stop. If you are interested in having your child come out for that, please make sure you click on the link below and sign up for one of her courses or one of her activities, or reach out to her on her email or her Facebook page. When she gets her website up, we'll definitely share that as well. And so, Talisha, I want to thank you for being part of the movement and being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.